I can easily say that I've always admired ponies with creative minds. Having the ability to think outside the box and concoct creations that boggle the mind must give them a wonderful feeling. Heck, I managed to have my own little stroke of genius today when I realized that my terrible cooking could be used as pest control. It's only been about a week, but I'm already raking in some pretty good profits. And by the end of the month, who knows? Maybe I'll have enough to take Sappy to Lost Pegasus. Hello?
Finny, my man, how's it poppin', bud?
Hey, Budget! Doing just fine, knowing that I have a phenomenal agent on my team.
Well, good news for the business, man. I just got an order for 1,200 parasite-proof pies due tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yep, and we gotta make sure they're all exactly the same as in the recipe. We need the perfect smell and look to lure them in, and the right ingredients to incapacitate them. Not one pie crust out of place, you hear?
How the buck am I supposed to do all that by myself? Who said anything about doing this yourself? I think I've got a better idea. And there we go. 1,200 parasite-proof pies that are exactly the same. Thanks for all the help, guys. It's all mine. What he said. Huzzah! Another hiatus finally ends. And starting off the second half of Season 6 is a trilogy of Rarity episodes. Fitting since she hasn't been in the spotlight at all this season. Those of you who know me well know that Rarity rests at the bottom of the list in regards to my favorite main 6 ponies. I don't hate her, far from it actually. I just don't feel that her episodes or appearances leave as much of an impact on me as those of the other 5. I will say though that her track record with episodes so far has been pretty good, and the premise of today's episode looked pretty promising when I first saw it. But in the end, did the writers put heart into this episode like Rarity when she makes her dresses, or should they have just closed up shop before they even got started? I say we take a look and find out. The episode starts off with Rarity doing a perfect impression of her brony during the hiatus. She eventually receives a letter she had been hoping for, which reveals that she'll finally be able to have her own boutique in Canterlot.
I'm so excited! I think I'm gonna lose my cupcakes!
Oh yeah, and Pinky made her own cupcake concoction consisting of strawberries, cinnamon, and sriracha. Ugh. What, cupcake? No. So, being the awesome friends that they are, the rest of the main 5 show up for the boutique's grand opening.
Rarity's such a savvy business pony. I'm so impressed she used the huge bonus she earned making the costumes for Sapphire Shore's Equestria-wide tour to open the second boutique.
For some reason, I think that riding trains gives you girls brain damage. That's why I feel the need to spew out exposition every time we leave one. As expected, the place looks great, and then we meet... Sassy Saddles.
I then laid out this plan, or pattern, as we say in the fashion biz, for Canterlot Carousel.
Can I just say right now that I really hate these types of agent characters? No matter what movie or show they're in, they only care about selling their client's face or merch and literally nothing else. No humanity, no concern for the client's well-being, nothing. And Sassy here is pretty much no different.
This game is about motherfucking money. I make that dollar, y'all motherfucking money. Even make
Anyway, since the ponies of Canterlot have a huge interest in royalty, Rarity decides to make a line of dresses based on locations and figures of extremely royal proportions.
In every poll Sassy Saddles took, you were the most popular princess.
Well, I can tell you didn't take any surveys at BronyCon because I'm sure the results would be a lot different. So the stage is finally set for tonight's presentation, which allows Rarity to at long last open the doors to the place she had always dreamed about.
Welcome to the grand opening of Canterlot Carousel!
Or Sassy could just butt in and steal all the spotlight from her.
So it begins.
And trust me, you'll want it to end as soon as possible. The showcase of Rarity's latest creations takes place as planned, eventually leading to the reveal of the collection's signature dress, Rain in the Stain.
The princess dress!
The princess dress? Really? You're hoping to sell this to the ponies of Canterlot and you change the charming and smart play on words into something as generic as the princess dress? That's like renaming the Canterlot Carousel place that sells clothes. Oh, and just a side note here, this guy, 100% of the episode's comedy is in this guy's scenes. If you just want to watch this episode for the funny bits, I suggest you watch those. Viewing MLP with Lily Pete's mindset has never been easier. So it turns out that the princess dress was a massive hit, and after its debut, Rarity ends up getting 100 orders for the thing. But there was only like 15 ponies at the showcase, so it couldn't have just been one order per guest. Why would some pony buy more than one or two of these things? To sell them on eBay at jacked up prices? Wouldn't surprise me. Rarity is expectedly nervous about this, and she rightfully tells Sassy off for giving her too much too soon. But thanks to the magic of the guilt trip, Rarity eventually ends up accepting and starts doing what she does best. This leads to what I believe is not only the best song in the season so far, but one of the best songs in the whole show period. Rules of Rarity.
Rules of Rarity, guaranteed quality, this I can assure. For each and every dress, I vow to give finesse.
Let's take up Kasumi Evans' awesome singing and the catchy melody for a second and look at the lyrics. As a whole, this song sums up every single stage that a content creator will go through in his or her life. It starts off in the wide-eyed early stages of creation. You have the freedom to do as you please, and you just light up after seeing how much everyone enjoys what you make. It's truly a fascinating feeling. But then as time goes on, the burning flame of passion you once had for your work begins to dim, and you realize that while you may be pleasing an ever-growing audience and getting fame with everything you create, you yourself are not happy. What used to be something enjoyable and fun for you has become nothing but a crowd pleaser that you feel no drive for anymore, and both you and your work will gradually end up suffering as a result. Trust me, I've been there before. I used to have an old YouTube channel, which is actually still up right now as sort of an archive. Making vids on that channel at first was unbelievably fun. Seeing all my hard work come together and then seeing all the people that loved it as much as I did just made me feel so accomplished. But as time went on, I ended up losing interest in what I was making. And even though more than 1,000 people had subbed to me and wanted to see more, the truth of the matter was that I just wasn't feeling it anymore. So you know what I did? I stopped. I knew that if I kept pushing myself, I'd wind up being more miserable. And with jobs, a school workload, and a family to keep in mind, I couldn't let that additional stress wear me down. Create because of passion, not for glory or praise. An important lesson for creators of all kinds, in my opinion. So, after Canterlot Carousel pretty much becomes Princess Dress Express, Rarity finally tells Sassy that she has freaking had it and will be closing the boutique as soon as possible.
I've worked too hard to make this a success. I can't be a part of another failed boutique.
Another failed boutique? You mean you pulled the same crap with other clients and you never learned from your mistakes? You took 100 orders for a product on day of release with only one worker in the shop. You made important decisions about the merchandise without consulting the person that created it first. You threw yourself into the spotlight multiple times when you weren't even supposed to be there, and they're trying to tell me that you've done similar things before? Jeez, I thought Flim and Flam trying to scam the same town twice was dumb. But this? This takes all the cakes.
All of them?
Yeah! After taking out the trash and replacing it with her true colors, Rarity opens up the door for what she believes will be the final time. But after seeing how much her customers enjoy her creative styles, she decides to keep the carousel open. But only if it's run by the rules of Rarity alone, and not by some kind of corporate method with the sole purpose of being successful. And yes, bonus points to this episode for Raven Pony.
Whoa, this dress completely speaks to my soul. Can I try it on?
A giant chicken. I must be the luckiest girl in the world.
So in the end, Sassy has her last minute redemption, Rarity gives the store to her so she can head back to Ponyville, and...
Oh my gosh, a sale? Do you have the princess dress? No!
we see what consumerism would look like in pony form. I mean, she's clearly oversaturated, like the market would be with a popular product, and she even asks for a popular product the second she walks in the store. Maybe I'm reading too deep into this. So, that was Canterlot Boutique, and... this is one of those rare cases where I don't really know what to say. If you look at things from a moral standpoint, this episode is phenomenal. It manages to be relatable to anyone who has ever had an audience for their creations. We see their spry beginning and early enthusiasm, all the way up to their eventual loss of interest when they try to please their audience without the drive they used to have. We see how both the worker and the work are affected by this loss in motivation, and in the end we get the moral that sacrificing your creativity is not worth pleasing fans. You should create because you want to, not because other people are pushing you to. If people enjoy what you do, that's great, but don't let popularity be your driving force. It'll just lead to suffering for both you and what you make. As far as the lesson goes, I adore this episode. However, as far as the episode itself goes, there's not very much to it. No real standout animation or standout characters, and aside from this guy, no real standout comedy either. Plus, Sassy is one of the most annoying side characters I think I've ever had to endure on this show. So, what's my final verdict? Well, despite this episode's shortcomings, I strongly encourage that everyone give this episode a watch. It's not the most memorable as a whole, but I definitely wouldn't call it average like most people. I'd say it's like 7 out of 10 material. Congratulations, Rarity! Your record of good episodes still holds up. Let's see how well you do next time when you rip off Bimo Noir. I'm Finn the Pony, and remember everyone, never fail to be creative. Because with merely an idea and a truckload of passion, you never know what amazing things you might create. So long, Bronies and Adventure Time fans, and a special shout out to Budget Cuts, the best agent a guy could ask for. Let's hope success will grace him many times in the future. Alright, Orlando, you got a deal. 10 million bits for all of Finn's food to be recalled. And I figured I'd steal all the instruments in town too, just in case a certain pink pony gets any ideas.
I appreciate the kind gesture, old friend. I just hope my kind won't cause too much of a ruckus.
I doubt it. You guys will probably eat their property and crops, get bored, and then go somewhere else while the ponies rebuild. What's the worst that could happen?